Okay.
Ready? Gentlemen, ready? All right, Town of Vernon Board of Supervisors meeting called to order for August 17th, 2017, 6 p.m. All rise and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Chairman Thomas Byrd.
Present.
Supervisor Jeff Millies.
Present.
Supervisor Gary Wildy.
Present.
Supervisor Ed Moline.
Present.
Supervisor Bill Craig. Mr. Chairman, you do have a quorum of your board present.
Open meeting law compliant.
Mr. Chairman, the agenda was posted inside and outside the Vernon Town Hall, to the media on the Town of Vernon's website, and to other entities within the Town of Vernon. You're in full compliance with the open meetings law.
All right, number 5 is I will read there may be a possible closed session. Consideration of possible action on motion to convene into executive session under Wisconsin Stat 19.85, Pren 1, Pren E. Deliberating, negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business. Whatever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, more specifically, negotiations for a board agreement with the Village of McWaterville. Included in the closed session are town board members and the town clerk. Motion will need a vote. All right, public comments. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? The record show there are no public comments. We'll move right into miscellaneous matters. First, item A, recommendation to the Vernon Town Board of Supervisors to amend the Town of Vernon zoning map from the A5 agricultural 5-acre density to B3 business for the property owned by A&R Investment Realty LLC for Alan and Rick Walters for the subject property as described
On the agenda.
on the agenda.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna read it, it's about 5 lines long. The property is located at South 65 West 22175 National Avenue within the Town of Vernon municipal limits. It's just east of Proven Power, or west of Proven Power, on the same side of the road. So, with that being said, gentlemen, we, at the Plan Commission meeting, had voted to approve this and send this to the town board for approval. And I'm going to read the town attorney's recommendation. It says, Mr. Mason says that this is a policy decision. The proposed conditions of the rezoning include a condition that the rezoning is conditional on the approval of the proposed site plan and plan of operation. Now, the site plan and plan of operation is not complete yet, so all it is contingent on Plan Commission approving their site plan, plan of operation, and all we are doing is voting on the zoning right tonight.
Okay.
And if anything in the proposed site plan, plan of operation is significant that you would not approve the zoning without the same occurring, those matters could be specifically spelled out on this rezoning condition. So, gentlemen, is there anything that you see
Well,
that
reading through this, Tom, there was nothing really that would put a hindrance in the rezoning in regard until the conditional use permit gets approved and that comes forward. But as far as the rezoning goes, that's almost straightforward, I think.
right? Yeah.
No, I'm in favor of it when the Plan Commission wins it, right?
Ed? Bill?
Yeah, I'm totally in favor. I think it's along the lines of our goals anyway to get more B zoning, whether it's 2 or 3. So I'm totally in favor of the zoning issue. I did have one question, and just to clarify, That, of course, I think would result in what, 1.5 acre minimum sizes, B3 zoning, if I'm not mistaken. What is that, Ken?
The zoning isn't predicated on divisions. It's his entire parcel. Their entire parcel would be zone B3.
Right, but doesn't that allow further division at a later date? Down
Oh,
to one?
any parcel absolutely can come forward?
Right, so any future division would have to come to the plan division, even if it were within the size requirement.
Yep.
Okay, that's all.
Isn't this generally within the area where we've been talking about possibility of changing the zoning to B3 in that whole area?
It's already up on the map there.
Yeah,
That
that's what I thought.
red spot,
Yeah, so this would actually fit in with our future plans in regard to what we had talked about in the past. You know?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I don't
The only thing that, was brought up, we had a fella that wanted to build a garage. I think, Bill, you remember this one, over in a subdivision on the east side of town, and then he was gonna build his house. When he built the garage, took him 5 to 8 years, never built the house. So we had him get rid of it, and that was just continuous. And now we have a home on there that is gonna be converted into offices. And we're gonna need plans for that and on the like on that. We need to be cognizant that, you know, if we don't have anything in there about that house, and then all of a sudden it becomes non-conforming, and then they rent it out as a house and all this and that, we're just gonna have to make sure that we watch that. It says in here that it's supposed to be turned in to offices. The petitioner intends to convert the single-family storage residence into an office for the business office, as well as construct the 80 by 150. So that's one of the things that we're gonna have to look for and make sure that we don't have to run through that again. So, with that being said, I have no problems with this either. So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to allow that property to be moved from an agricultural 5 acre density to a B3 business. Property owned by A&R Investment Realty as described on the agenda. I'm not going to read it all again.
I'll second.
Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, does his agenda include the 5 additions as recommended by the Plan Commission?
Oh, with the conditions as recommended by the plan.
Got it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. That's it. Okay, item B. Replace thermal imaging camera for the Vernon Fire Department. All right, what this is here is, well, the chief is here. Chief, you wanna come up?
Sure.
Just state your name and who you are so people know what you're doing.
I have his name tag right there, Fire Chief.
Fire chief, is that what it says?
Yep.
Nice. Alex Valley, fire chief, how's that? Doesn't have a name on it, so it's easily changed. I like that. Wow, I like that. After the last meeting, I don't know what that to happen. That's right. I wasn't gonna come in here, you guys are, poor guy was crying for a week.
All right. So, we have a thermal imaging camera here that needs to be replaced.
Yes,
It's the oldest one out of the bunch, and, to replace it or to fix it is $2,700, correct, Alex? And to
yeah, right about
replace
that, plus shipping and some other
it
stuff.
is around $3,000, so to me, it's pretty much,
We actually we priced out the repairs. Camera's almost 7 years old. It was purchased when we made the split. It's got some substantial electronic issues. It's like anything now, computer stuff has become somewhat disposable. The vendor said the life is, 5 years, 7 years on something like that. So it just really didn't make sense to throw money at repairing something that we could replace with right now some incentive stuff and some demo stuff out there for about $3,000. Plus the technology that we're getting now is much better than what we had with the older cameras. So the new camera has the addition of the FLIR option, which is good for searching for people and things like that. So it's used a little bit more for search and rescue stuff.
Now, how many of these do we have?
Yeah. We have one on every piece of fire apparatus.
Okay, are they all this style?
No, we have a
Old
mix.
style?
We have a couple of the older ones, which are the MSA cameras, and the newer ones that we've purchased in the last couple of years now are the cameras made by FLIR.
Is this something that we should probably be budgeting for yearly in case something
For replacement?
replacement costs on them, or is it just a?
I think that we do a pretty good job of maintaining our stuff and trying to take care of it. Our people aren't very abusive with the equipment and things, so at some point we'll come back and look to maybe upgrade them. Right now, technology is changing so much that I'm almost kind of inclined, would you agree, Patrick, to maybe wait a little bit and see, we need a camera now, but when these cameras first came out, they were $15,000 a piece.
And helmet mount.
And helmet mounts now, so there's all kinds of different stuff coming out in the next couple of years, so we just want to replace the one that we have. We worked with a vendor who supplied our last camera. He has a salesman's demo, which is about $1,000 less than what it would cost normally, and so we're able to hopefully take advantage of that.
Question, you say the repair wouldn't have a warranty with it all, but you don't state what the warranty with that demo is.
The warranty on the new camera is 5 years.
Well, is it, you could take the demo though, and it's $1,000 less?
Yep.
Is that considered
Same warranty, 5 years.
Okay,
Yep.
5 years?
Yep.
Yeah, the chief brought this to my attention last week, and he does have the right, with my approval, with the town chairman's approval, to spend up to $5,000. And I told Alex, could this wait, I asked him, could this wait till the next town board meeting, because I'd like to have town board members hear what he has to say about it when I be able to ask the questions. Because $3,000 is $3,000.
Yeah.
You guys should know what's going on.
Where you at budget-wise?
We're doing well.
So you got plenty of money somewhere to,
Yes.
that no problem. Okay. So did you report?
Well, right, but we just want to, keep everyone on the same page,
Yeah.
and it occurred at a structure fire we had in our own town, so it's one of those things that happens.
We need a motion, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay, and make a motion that allows the fire chief to go ahead and purchase this thermal imaging camera, K45 TIC, for the listed price of what he indicates, since there's money in the budget.
Do you want to put a not to exceed number on there? Would that be,
Is that a problem?
is $3,000, not to exceed $3,000, or you want it like not to exceed 3,200, not to exceed
Yeah, just
35?
something like that's fine, just in case there's some shipping.
Not to
I don't think
exceed
there's
30.
shipping, but
Not to exceed $3,200.
Okay.
You got four.
I would like to have a
Is
cap.
that minus 1,000?
it would be, that camera would be a little bit over $4,000 brand new.
Okay, so you're getting like $1,000 off of the four.
Right, so we're going.
Just want to make sure he's giving you enough to.
Yeah, no, yes.
I'll second
Not to exceed 32. Any more discussion?
it. Nope.
What's the range on that, Chief?
What's that?
What's the range on that?
In terms of,
Like you get somebody lost in the woods, how far can it shoot out to find someone?
we used it a couple weeks ago. We had a call with Sheriff's Department in Big Bend, and I saw some nice deer a couple hundred yards away. It actually works pretty well. It doesn't really magnify.
Bigfoot.
Well, you're right.
It's a heat sensor.
But it gives you a nice heat signature of.
Gives you direction ahead of you.
Yes.
Is that
Carrot
or anything?
Yeah. Well, we'd like to, at some point in time, look at getting the drones utilized for things like that. We actually do a fair amount of large area searches, search and rescue stuff. We've had a couple in the last couple of years now. where it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the technology really helps because it seems like all this stuff happens at night.
Yeah.
So, it does help us a lot.
Does it work as a fish finder too?
No, it does not.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Fire department breakfast in September.
Good.
Okay. So, at our last meeting, we needed to know whether this was a association or a fire department. And I'm assuming that this is gonna be a fire department function?
Well, you know, it's one of these things we've done forever, ever since I've been on the joint department. Then when we split, we maintained it. I would almost say it's a 50-50 type of thing. You know, we use the facilities. All the members that are there are volunteering their time for that day through the association and through the department. They're not being compensated to be there. We use the facility. The association does all of the work to get the donations for like the meat. The Pritzoffs have always, you know, since for the last 4 or 5 years, have always provided us with the meat for that, and then we got some great relationships that way. So they take care of coordinating all of that stuff. They work with Quick Trip, all the local organizations that have supported our endeavors. And then we, as a fire department, utilize the facilities. We do a lot of public education, so we kind of roll it all into one big community event. So I'd almost say it's a 50-50 thing. The money, Ed and I talked about, you know, they do run the pancake breakfast. They get all the stuff, they sell tickets for the food, and then that money goes back into the association's funds that they fund into the department that are outside of taxpayer obligations. In the past, they've pitched in money for cameras, the thermal imaging cameras, extrication equipment, fire prevention stuff, and AEDs. They've done a lot of weightlifting stuff in the station, for the station, things like that. So they're a good steward of the department, and you know, it's to me kind of hard to define if it's truly 100% an association or 100% department. I think it's kind of a 50-50 thing.
I'm gonna read you what the attorney says about this. It says, make sure that all ordinances, policies, and procedures are being followed. Based on information submitted to date, it appears that this is a fire department function, and therefore all ordinances, including Chapter 5, have to be followed by the fire department, and probably does not need the town approval to use the fire department for this. This means that all financial aspects of it must be run through the town board books. Okay. The town board, at some time in the future, once the money is deposited with the town and all the bills are paid, could, based on a request from the fire for the use of the money for a fire department purposes, return the money to the fire department and amend the budget as needed.
So you're saying the town board's gonna get the money from the pancake breakfast?
It's only gonna come through the town and then back to the fire department, because we have the ordinances.
Well,
I would probably look at it a little differently, like who's collecting the money? It's the association's collecting the money. We're just doing the work, you know, some of the work,
well,
and the facility.
Then if it's association, then you fill out the paperwork and get insurance. It's that simple.
and I've talked with the association president and made him aware. Ed and I talked about some of the logistics of this. We have the paperwork here for the application that can be signed. They are working on getting the insurance. I don't know what type of expense or cost that is. I mean, keep in mind that this is not a, you know, they're not making $50,000 a year. They're doing this to make a couple of $1,000s, but it's done more for what the community enjoys in terms of being able to come in to see their fire department, getting some good public public ed opportunities out there, getting the kids to do some basic fire safety. We do a demonstration with sprinklers or some type of car, some type of hands-on thing that people get to watch and observe and get our community the opportunity to meet the people that take care of them.
Fight for life.
Fight for Life comes in every year.
Okay, so now,
So
it's not fire department, it's not through the top, it's through the association. It's
Okay.
association event. Okay, then we need to follow all the rules for the association, just like anybody else that would wanna rent that fire department for a day. Or whatever. You guys can volunteer whatever you wanna do, and then that's fine, but they're gonna need to fill out that form,
form's already filled out.
and they're gonna need to have insurance for that event.
Can we determine what amount of insurance?
Well, I was just gonna ask, there's
What they're
no,
looking for?
there's no specificity to what,
Yeah, they can go out and buy a $10 insurance policy.
Any insurance company that's gonna insure that will know. And the certificate insurance will come for whoever insures you to our insurance company. They'll additionally insure the town. They do that all the time. You just have to find someone for insurance.
Is that, do you know offhand, or anybody heard if that's the one that,
I
was
we
used
probably talk
for the
to Vernon
ballpark
about.
when they use the ballpark? They do-
Most sporting agencies, scouts, they all have insurance. Most entities have an insurance carrier. But you should ask like, some of your city. I can give you some recommendations on who you could contact.
Well, Horton might have it,
Right, they won't, no,
no?
they won't, not, because that would be,
Conflict of interest.
right.
I'm trying to remember the lady's name that applies every year for the park.
Yeah, they haven't, they're,
She
you
could
know,
give you the name of the insurance they use, and that's probably the same.
that's there's lots of agencies that do that, but you'd have to do it pretty quick.
Yeah.
We're gonna need all of that by, we've got another meeting the 7th. And the pancake breakfast is
The 10th.
the 10th. Does anybody have any problem with the association being an association instead of being a fire department function, as long as they get the insurance?
I just wonder if they understood clearly how simple it was to just call it a fire department function, and nothing really changes other than the money passed through and back. The town's not taking the money. The town is accounting for the money and giving it back to the fire department.
Right away? Or is it holding on until
Whatever time
they want to purchase
the
it?
clerk can get it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the logistics of that would be. That would be a lot cleaner of a way to do it. But I know that the general consensus has already been that if there's the perception or that, you
I think
know,
they're perceiving they're gonna lose the money.
Right.
They're not gonna lose the money. That was pretty much, we're under agreement that that money is still the fire department's money. It just because of the ordinance, the way it's written, has to come through an accounting at the town and then be passed back to the department. For you to use it for the association anyway, which would solve the whole problem, guys.
They're gonna get it all set.
sure.
I guess it depends too on the cost of insurance, it's gonna be outrageous.
But I have no idea what that,
That is it gonna be.
And the timing.
For that.
Well, we got 2 weeks in.
yeah.
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 Make it clear to people, it's not, we're not grabbing money.
No.
Hands off the money. It's just, they have to pass it through here to make it fit the ordinance and settle the issue with the attorney's question, which is the ordinance. So, you don't lose anything, it's just an accounting practice that takes place.
Yeah, very important. Yeah. Makes sense.
So it's up to you guys.
Save you
whatever
chasing
you want.
It's like the association, really.
Yeah, and I talked with the association president, several times this last since we talked.
Yeah.
And he was working on trying to find out how much it was gonna cost or where they get it from, because they're kind of, we've never done this before, and now all of a sudden it's turned into an issue. You know, I think with the attorney here, the timing could have been a little better.
Well, that's one, Alex and I had lunch for the specific reason I wanted to give you as much time and heads up as we could on a couple issues that were out there, and that was one of them, so.
Well, this is why we started back in July. Now this is the second week in August, so this is the 3rd time, and we got one more. So that'll be 6 weeks.
And like AC Hayes said, we'll talk with them and find out exactly what they want
Right.
to do. Because it's up, I mean, they traditionally have done everything.
We just go and look great.
Yeah, we go and they make us look great, they make the town look great, you know, and it's a nice event for the community. There's a lot of pride that the members have in the event, because it always seems to be very successful. People tell us every year they look forward to coming in every year and having an omelet or some pancakes or whatever. You know, so that's the catalyst for. Well, that was an omelet mistake we had over there. That was, yeah. The omelet thing was not so good for that. So, they always want Angie's omelets, not Gary's omelets.
Yeah,
No offense.
I'm off the omelet line. I'm the supply. I go to get the supplies now. But
Did you ever find a Band-Aid that came off your finger?
nope.
Losing my omelet.
That's a joke.
That was a chili.
So, item C, you've got till.
September 7th, right?
Yeah.
Put my calendar, yes. You've got till September 7th, because that'll be on the agenda again.
So, and just to clarify, we have the application to use the town facilities filled out. So that just has to be submitted before the packet goes in.
The town board doesn't normally see these.
Oh, who does this then, just you?
They're all done internally.
Okay.
But if the board wants to see this one, that's an exception.
Well, we're gonna talk with the president tonight. We'll try to get a hold of him tonight.
I wonder if you ought to turn it in now. Doesn't create a problem to have it in hand right
I'll
now.
just make a copy.
We could
And we could
accept
change
it
it later.
It's on the agenda, we could accept it, okay, it's going, only in lieu of, we need the insurance.
If they change their mind and wanna go with it being a fire department, through the
That's
board,
fine. Yeah.
easy enough to do.
That is easy enough, so is there a motion?
I make the motion that we accept that for now, awaiting on the insurance approval by the next board meeting. And we get this ready for signatures for the next meeting as well. Is that covered right there?
Could you read that, Matt?
Was a motion that we accept this, I'm assuming form for now, while we wait for the insurance
Yes.
to be resolved, insurance.
I'd like that worded a little different.
We get this ready.
I would like that worded to accept the application form from the association
And
with the aspect that they're gonna also turn in an insurance certificate.
by the next meeting. No later than.
No later than September 7th.
Got it.
That way it's covered, and if something else, if that decides that you're not gonna do that, then we've got the 7th yet to say, okay, it's not an association, it's a fire department.
Fair enough.
In that case, nothing needs to change.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Think about it.
Okay.
Okay, any more discussion?
All right, Mexican. I'll send you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay.
Just a sheet of it and report on, they can be done.
Okay, we got item D here, donations to the town of Vernon Fire Department. That one is taken care of. Okay. Ordinance, Vernon Fire Department Protection Ordinance, item E.
So basically, that's been offered to you folks for final review prior to the term, as I understand it. And these are the changes that were made, based on several months' work. And also the addition, the inclusion, if you would, of going to a permit on an annual basis for burning.
Is there anything in here about that permit?
Yeah, it was near the end, I read it.
It's in there.
It doesn't have the permit in it, it talks about the permit.
Right.
And where to get the form.
And all the rules.
Last time we talked about the special charge by a town resolution. I made a note on that just so that, in reading that again, it talks about establishing a burning permit special charge by a town resolution.
When the motion actually was $10.
I'm sorry?
The motion made at the last meeting was $10.
Oh, so the resolution has been made then?
No, the motion was made, it's not on the
So,
How's the resolution in here?
in the ordinance, it would always refer to it because your resolution could change every year.
We're back
But
to
the
that.
formal motion made by Supervisor Millies at the last meeting was a motion to charge $10 for the permit fee.
So we're good.
so, I wasn't at that meeting, can I ask a question in terms of charging a fee for a permit? So, what happens when a town resident does burning, for whatever reason, we have to go out there, and we find out that they do not have a permit? Is there any type of penalty or fine that's associated with burning out of? Because the goal of the permit was to eliminate phone calls every day to the fire department. We kind of drafted the permit to lay out exactly what the requirements were for a resident so that they had something in their hand. If they were gonna burn, they could look at it and go, okay,
We
it
know.
says I have to have something to extinguish the fire nearby. It can't be no more than X amount of miles per hour for the wind and the size of the piles and things like that, so that we would know. The reality is if someone picks up the phone and calls the sheriff's department, calls 911, calls the dispatch center, we're gonna go out no matter what. It's been virtually impossible to try to track the people who call in every day because we don't share that information with the dispatch center. There's no way to basically handle that. So, I don't know how well received the $10 fee will be, but, our goal is mainly just to get people on the same page to do things in a safe manner. And honestly, the people in our community have shown over the last many years that they are responsible in what they do. You know, for the most part, you don't have someone, trying to burn a garage down or doing something like that. But we just want to make it convenient for them too. So,
What I can envision is you show up on the scene, and maybe legitimately the person says, I did get a permit, it's in the house, they're not gonna have it on their physical, you know what I'm saying? What happens in a case like that? I would say that's gonna happen 9 times out of 10, if not 100%.
it may, but once a permit's been pulled or it's been filled out, and we maintain a copy of it, we could create a master list that we keep on. I mean, all our vehicles have computers. You could keep the file and say to our people who are on duty, if you're going somewhere and after you get there you determine there's an emergency going on, if you're not sure if someone's got a permit or not, you ask them for the paper. If they don't have it, you can always pull up your Excel spreadsheet that's on your computer. And
I think the permit is after the fact, if they're burning, whether a permit or a permit not permit.
Right.
You guys get called, you're not gonna stand there and say, well, you didn't get a permit, you're gonna put the fire out.
Yeah, right, but
And then you're gonna worry about the permit.
Right.
our main motivation here was to make it easier for the residents.
Yeah.
So they have an understanding what the expectations are, and also to stop the.
It's gonna be something new, it's gonna be a learning curve, we're gonna have to put it in the newsletter, and we're trying to make the process easier for the department.
And there is a,
Mail out the form to the tax bill?
to answer the question,
Sure.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, we'll do that right, Karen.
Yep, doing both.
So as part of the burning permit, they have to have a water supply handy. So most of the time, that's gonna be a hose.
yeah,
So if we pull up and they say, I don't have my burning permit with me, they're close enough to their house that, in my other experience, we ask them to go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they don't go get it, then we just mark their address, and then when we get the next duty day,
here's what's in the ordinance now. Under F, any person who shall violate any provision of this section or any regulation made therein shall be issued a citation with a forfeiture stated at $50 plus court costs for the first violation, $100 plus court costs for subsequent violations. In addition to such forfeitures and costs, in the event a violation results in the response to the town of Vernon Fire Department, Said violator shall be assessed an additional charge of $200. Said assessment to be paid to the town of Vernon. So there are fines associated with not having a burning permit if you're burning, which there really should be. I mean, we want people to be conscious of their responsibilities.
I agree.
So it was a decision of the board to put a $10 fee on it, like a dog license or anything else, and hopefully that'll offset some of the costs.
I have one question, Mr. Chairman. Second page, paragraph D, as in Donald, do we have a Town of Vernon Fire Prevention Bureau?
Technically, we do. We have one member who's the person responsible for fire inspection.
I questioned that before we put him in.
Okay.
We talked.
Things can be big and small.
Yes.
We also have many certified.
So it's basically a one-man bureau right now?
Well,
Pretty
we
much.
have one person that kind of coordinates everything, and then a lot of our part-time people, while they're working during the day, will go out and do the fire inspections in the businesses. Because that gives them an opportunity to go out and look for any type of violations, make sure everything's safe, and then also get to see the buildings that they may be responding to. So it's not only a state mandate, but we use it as kind of a training component as well.
Now, before a motion is made, I know Mr. Macy has in here, it says, has not had any legal review of this at all. But being there's a lot of statutes in here and references, my thoughts would be that maybe we should approve this to go to the attorney and let him come back with his questions.
I'll give you a comment on that.
Can I give a comment too?
Yeah, sure. Right after me, because I'm gonna take the first shot.
All right.
When we took this over, the version we were looking at was approved by the attorney, and we found out quite a few of the ordinance, or the statutes that were in there, were already obsolete when it was approved last time.
Mhm.
So are we gonna catch this? We did, I think, a great job at the diligence, picking up all these changes and the various nomenclatures that we use when they shifted departments around the state level. As far as I'm concerned, this is a very clean document that way. So if that's the only thing you're looking at, I think we got it nailed. If it's other language and stuff, maybe we should, you know.
Well, and we also had a fire representative from the state of Wisconsin,
Go through
from the
with
Department of Safety and Professional Standards. We started to do some of the original draft stuff, reviewed a lot of stuff, and was quite surprised that whoever reviewed it the last time did not catch a lot of these outdated references. And that to me was kind of disheartening, because I'm sure the town's
We paid for it.
taxpayers paid a lot of money for that to be done. So I honestly, based on the amount of work that's been done, I personally, professionally wouldn't see the value of sending it to the attorney, but that's not my call.
I'd leave that to the chair's comfort level with what you've done in the past. I mean, if that's something that should be done just for protection of the town, so be it.
It's up to this white, I think John's gonna have a field day.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of, you know. This could get pricey, just let you know.
And for me, what's frustrating is it always seems to end in the policy, well, the statement, this is a policy, do what you want anyway.
Not on ordinances,
And, you know, so
not on
to
ordinances.
me, I think a lot of work's been done on it, but again, it's not, it's my job to try to enforce the stuff that applies to us, but
I won't object to it, but I'm not sure, based on the question you asked, that it'd be necessary. If there's other things we want to consider,
What do you think, Bill?
we should.
I guess I'd be comfortable not running it through.
Jerry?
I just got apprehension about turning something this big over to John. Yeah.
well, and
Because it could be a couple of months before it comes back and forth and everything like that. I don't know. You guys put it together, you know, and
Yeah, I could see if they limit the attorney's time to an hour.
That'd be the first page.
That would be opening the envelope.
Well, I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna fight the board on it, so if that's the way the board feels about it, that's fine with me, then I'll feel the same way. I stand shoulder to shoulder with my guys.
Yeah. Did you see that the state is changing the sprinkler law? It was on TV, the Waukesha fire chief was on TV tonight, and they're gonna lower the limits in regard to home construction, in regard to sprinklers.
I think they're pretty much eliminating it.
They're eliminating it. The Builders Association, I think, is behind this, you know, because it's.
Well, they are behind it.
Because the cost is raising the cost of the building construction.
Which
So-
which again,
It's gonna
professionally, I
cost
think
somebody
is
some lives, that's what's
well,
gonna
I think
happen.
that when you look at the actual cost of putting a sprinkler system into a building, that cost is a very, very small part of the whole construction process. It's like 1% of what you build. And it's just, to me, it's a political money grab, and,
Yeah.
you know, it's at the
It's gonna
risk of
cost
somebody
somebody
living in an
some
apartment
life.
building.
It's gonna cost some life, some.
Can I ask you something?
All right, we're getting off the
Sorry.
topic here.
Sorry,
We're on, the fire ordinance.
If I might ask a favor on this document, just for ease of review, can we number the pages on this one, Karen?
Yes.
Is that,
Please.
is that what you did?
I did originally and they disappeared, I don't know where they went.
It didn't come with numbers, but,
No, you know how many times we had this out and back?
well,
So can we-
it's,
Right now.
I mean, it's not in form for adoption, so you'd have to carry it over to the next, it doesn't have all the formal, it's, you know, it has to be redrafted for formal. It doesn't have the adoption
It's
date.
so hard to review these things in any kind of committee without page numbers on it. But I'll leave it as it is if that's
So-
complicating it.
Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion to number these pages for simplicity. But no one's gonna have to do it next time we go anyway, so, Joe?
You are correct.
Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Now, is there a motion on the ordinance?
Yes, I'd make a I won't. Go ahead.
No, it's
I
your
would
ordinance.
make a motion to approve, the latest version of this 2017-03 without legal review. We need to put that in, I believe.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it.
Who seconded the numbering the page motion?
Gary?
Yeah.
And he also seconded the,
Yes. Resolution 2017-4, yes.
Can we hit the report real quick and we'll get out of here?
Oh, sure.
Sure.
All right, we're gonna skip the reports here for the fire department. Okay, chief?
For the month of July, we had 73 calls. You see the breakdown on the handouts that you guys got on the report. Pretty typical month lately. Ended up with a total of 512 calls at the end of July, which is about where we thought we would be halfway through. And, you know, we continue to help our neighbors. We're doing some intercepts on a regular basis, and things are going well. Member status, as you can see there, we have a couple members on leave. We appointed 2 more people last month. We have 4 that are scheduled for interviews next week with the fire commission. So we're bringing on 4 more additional members. It's not in here, you know, being in the next month, but we had one of our members completed paramedic school, and he passed his national registry 2 days ago. So congratulations to Matt Martin. So he's another paramedic. So,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna, you got a question on personnel at all?
Yeah, on personnel, in finance, if I could jump ahead quickly, are we still paying for paramedic school?
No, that stopped with the That stopped with the old department when we had a member who went to school,
I'm
got his
trying to
education
understand,
for
we have
free.
an invoice in here,
That was for.
That's for fire training.
fire training,
Yeah.
and we still do pay?
Yes.
That's out of dues?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so it's not,
Right, right. We do not pay for paramedic level training.
just wanted to cover that, because they had a paramedic in there as well, and I thought, please.
We do pay for EMT school,
Right.
Yeah,
but not
And-
paramedic.
And refresher stuff.
okay,
Right.
So there is some stuff that goes.
and that's all out of dues?
Yep.
I mean, that's.
Well, it's
part
out
of
of our
the
training
level.
budget, but it's all part of the dues. It's all formulated based on your per capita and all those different things.
Good, thanks, kids.
So, buildings and grounds, been going pretty well. We've got a couple of projects we're working on right now. We've got a couple issues that have popped up. It'll be in next month's report, but we got a leak in our air system in our station. Substantial, the compressor's pretty much running, I don't say non-stop, but quite a bit. We've got a bunch of old airlines that are leaking now, so we're in the process of redoing all of that. That's kind of turned into a little bit of a priority project for us. Members are starting to get the station cleaned up and doing some other minor maintenance and upkeep for the pancake breakfast coming up, doing some of the more thorough cleaning and things like that. Apparatus-wise, we completed all our hose and ladder testing this year early before the weather got bad. This year we used a third-party vendor to do that. It actually ended up, I think, if you subtract all of the man hours that we were paying for, it ended up being a much cheaper endeavor to get those requirements done. They came in and they rocked it out. They were done in a day and a half. It was amazing. They tested 9,000 feet of hose and boy, how many feet of ladders. It was amazing.
Did they find much deficiency in your hose?
We had probably, I think, 3 or 4 sections of hose fail, which is not bad. Again, some of that stuff is going to be, in the future, will be capital replacements for some of like our large diameter stuff.
Yeah.
But right now it's doing okay. And that's why we test it every year, so that if it meets the NFPA recommendations, then we keep it. If it doesn't and it fails, then it gets replaced. So they've, NFPA's gone to a 10-year replacement thing on hose now is what the recommendation is. And that's just not practical for most departments. So as stuff goes bad, we end up replacing it. And we upgraded some stuff in the last couple of years too, so that's helped as well. 1263 is obviously still up at Pierce. Give you an update on that. We've been waiting for about probably 45 days now for the axle to be delivered. Meritor's been running behind on their axles. There was a design change that we had because of the engineering and the tilt test stuff that again, an NFPA requirement of, your vehicle can't go more than, I think it was 27 degrees before it flips. And the way that, because this is a glider project, they actually have to do the tilt test, not just do the computer modeling. So at some point they're going to put that thing on a table and see if it flips. So they chain it down so it won't roll over. But
So they fill it full of water?
they load it up with water, they do all their stuff, and then they run it through their. So it's to simulate if a vehicle would go at that 27 degrees. So if they hit a ditch line or something, it would roll. You look at tenders. Tenders are the most common vehicle to roll over. They hit the edge of the road. They're so top heavy, they just roll over. So, but we're hoping to see that delivery towards the end of September, at the latest, the early part of October. It's running behind because of that. We did, because of the change in the axles, they increased or improved the suspension system, and not that they're losing money, but they ate the cost of that, which is about $14,000 for the improvement to the axles and the suspension system. So that's been taken along. That's been out of Pierce's control. So we've been waiting on that. 1261 had a radiator hose failed after a call. They had the vendor come in and he found a hose that was pretty thin and had a crack in it. So what was nice is our members noticed that something didn't smell right. They went to investigate and they found that there was a leak in it. So again, our people are cognizant of what's going on, and they truly pay attention to detail. And then our pride of the fleet, our 1999 Chevy pickup truck, had brake lines that failed. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to replace the brake lines because they're so old. but, then Chevrolet took care of us on that and ended up, being able to replace all the brake lines and.
Is that the Tahoe?
That is the Chevy one-ton pickup that used to be a grass truck, it's now a utility pickup. That, it was out of service, so it was either junk it or replace it, it was still cost effective.
That one sits outside occasionally?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
We'll
I was
probably.
gonna ask you about that.
Yeah, we'll probably be looking to replace that soon, probably next year. Just a couple calls, of significance last month. Obviously, everyone knows that Burlington had a flood. We were part of a task force that went down on Thursday, the beginning of the event on Thursday night. In the wee hours of the night, we did a task force, from Waukesha County, went down to help them. We sent our squad down as part of the task force. They were there until 10 or 11 o'clock the next day. We had a structure fire in McGuanago we assisted them with. We also had a structure fire in the town of Vernon on Danielson Road, where we had mutual aid from all of our regular partners, town of Waukesha, McGuanago, New Berlin, City of Waukesha, right?
Right, Brookfield.
Town, and so we had a bunch of people there for that. Patrick was in charge of that call. They did a nice job, made a very nice stop for the challenge as we got there. So that obviously was one of the larger calls for the month. And then we had a fatal vehicle accident on 164 between Kelsey and County Line Road. It was the Thursday of the floods in Burlington. And that again, they were there for almost 5 hours. It was a very, very substantial crash. The damage was just massive would be the way to describe it. And our people, they were there for 5 hours helping the sheriff's department and then the coroner do a lot of different tasks. So those were kind of the calls for the month.
Okay, any questions for the chiefs? No? All right, chiefs, thanks for coming.
Pleasure.
Remember,
Yes.
the 7th.
See you on the 7th. No, and then we'll see you on the 10th.
And
Yeah. 10th, then.
We'll pencil you in for omelets.
I want to see Gary cooking back there.
Gary, I'm staying home.
We make sure he doesn't wear Band-Aids.
Yeah, well.
And if those have been passed on.
All delivered on Monday.
Under the glove.
All right.
Patrick, did you get the new payrolls? Did you get the, sent you
All
another
right,
template with
yeah.
those guys on?
Resolution
Resend it to me.
2074,
Thank you.
resolution amending the budget. This is the resolution. Last time it was, the numbers, Madam Clerk noticed, or Bill noticed, one of the two, that the numbers didn't jive. And now the numbers are all in there, correct, Madam Clerk?
Yep. Yep, read.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2017-4.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item G, resolution 2017-5, a resolution amending the budget.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2017-5.
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Alrighty. Authorized use of Menard's account, DPW director.
Mr. Chairman, obviously John's not here, so what he's asking for is for the people that are on the authorized use to be approved by the town board. They also realize that they have to follow the credit card policy for any purchases which are approved by department heads, and we're also, once again, removing 2 people that have already been removed, but just to be safer, there's 2 people that are no longer employed that we took off the authorized users.
I'll make a motion to amend this form for the government account authorized user update from Menards.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, Bill?
Just a question, do we need 6 people on this credit account?
The only reason is, if I go, I mean, it's usually after hours, but if the guys are going, it depends who's free to go. So you wanna, I mean, it's just, rarely do all, the person that usually goes is Casey. But Tyler might go, it depends what's going on. If somebody's working something, plumbing, they send the person that's, whatever the expertise is not needed, they run to Menards. They don't really go that often. But they have to, and they usually call, because sometimes when they're needing supplies from Menards, they would call there to make sure they have the supplies before they run out there.
I mentioned it. So far, I haven't seen any kind of issue with the DPW people and receipts.
Oh, no.
They've been very good about that.
We only had one go down the septic system. That's the only one and I actually saw the receipt go right into the septic system.
I'm sorry.
But nobody's gonna fish it out.
You didn't push anybody in.
I didn't push anybody.
Is this a new account or, just a minute update?
Yeah,
That used to be on there.
Okay,
I
Brian.
saw this.
and they've been removed once, but we thought since we're sending the form, just to be sure,
Cleaned it up.
just to, I don't think where they're located, they'd come to our Menards.
Okay, I think the motion should be also stated in it that have the town board chairman sign this, because there's a signature for me there.
Oh, yeah.
So that needs to be in the motion, is that?
Do you have
Can
any?
I add that as a
Yeah, it's just,
friendly amendment?
and then you ask it, then Tom asks if there is any objection to
Any
that.
objection?
No,
No? Okay.
sorry, I missed it.
Otherwise, I'll have to bring it back and.
No, sorry, I missed that.
All right. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, RFP for the municipal insurance. Madam Clerk, this is yours.
I wanted to bring it to the board. It is not a complete RFP, and that's done specifically so somebody or an agent or a company can't make an open, well, they could make an open records request for the RFP, but it doesn't have the significant information that's needed. The reason it's on the agenda is some of the issues related to deductibles. I know we talked about that once before, Bill, when we did. I just wanted you to go through it if there's any areas you wanted me to change. Like I said, I'd like to bring it back to your next town board meeting on September 7th, but wanted any type of feedback or information that you'd like added to the RFP. I'd like to take your comments, incorporate that into the final document without that substantial information. That way, when the town board authorizes the RFP to be released, it's released with the final documentation that all agents need to make a viable RFP for the town's insurance.
I thought it was pretty thorough as far as it goes. I'm not an underwriter, so I wouldn't know what to really look for, but in experience in insurance questions, this one's pretty thorough here.
How close is this to what we're carrying right now, Karen?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is.
Have you found anything that you needed to add to this to make it clearer for the clerk's office?
No, I have to state though, it from the League of Municipalities has this template, and the information that you're gonna utilize to evaluate is substantial.
Okay.
I think that's, that's something that I'm gonna give to you. You don't need it at a formal board meeting, but your evaluation process, this is totally different compared to the last RFP that we did the last time, but in all honesty, our last RFP was given by our agent.
Self-interest?
Well, I don't know about that, but
So this came from the Towns Association?
no,
or-
this came from the League of Municipalities,
League of Municipalities, okay.
through the Clerks Association. I attended a meeting where they,
So we'll hold this and bring it back for the next meeting?
well, the issue is there's anything that you saw in there that you wanted changed or upped or,
But we shouldn't need to recopy this whole thing for the next meeting. We'll bring
No.
it back.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
and that would be my request to the town board, only in fairness to other companies that would like to bid on our insurance, is that once you approve the RFP, to authorize your date set forth, and then authorize the clerk to add the information on the date the RFP is released. That way it's fair for all agents.
Yeah,
Just
Nothing against ours, but
level playing field.
Just out of curiosity, I know you can't really predict it, but how many of these do you think we'll have to send out? How many people will be interested?
we'll put them on the website, and typically there's four strong
Four?
companies. Some of your smaller companies are gonna want to attempt to bid on an RFP, but they don't really have no one has a clear playing field unless it's all released on the same date.
Okay.
You get it all at the same time. They're not
I'm just
securing,
curious.
that way they're not securing specific, because there's many subsidiaries related to our insurance that all insurance carriers have. And this is for everything, all of our liabilities, all the buildings.
Don't you normally find brokers grab this and start throwing out to all their people?
Oh, yes, yeah, and that's good. I mean, the more people
You're not
that,
gonna see direct companies bidding on this normally.
Can they break it down to individual, like, one company would handle a portion of it, and another company handle some?
You'll see
other
that.
portion of it?
there's multiple, even Horton has multiple
Okay.
carriers that carry different portions of our,
Okay.
as you've seen on some of the claims for
Yeah.
an individual or claims for an insurance, a
That's
fire.
where the broker gets involved.
Hmm.
Put it out to them.
Okay.
Is that okay?
All right. So we really don't have any action on it.
No.
More for perusal.
We'll have to it.
Liturgical publications.
Pronounce it.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, there's probably nothing that obviously needs to be done, but the reason I contacted Liturgical is the budget's coming up, and on everything, I know you gentlemen look at in any ways to get the best bang for our buck. So that was my quest in talking to Liturgical on maybe reducing it, finding more cost savings, and you saw the back and forth, and so I think you all know where we're at, but I wanted you to at least see what I was doing, so you could see what was happening within that discussion, and you saw the last response back from that they're gonna uphold, the agreement that the town board and Liturgical had agreed to.
Yeah, it's a contract. And they're the ones that wanted the 5-year. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And I was so surprised when he had said, well, due to the fact that we're losing money, we're not, and when I said to him, so you're not honoring the agreement? And then you saw the whole tone, how can you not honor a contract we're in agreement with? And then you saw his response then, oh, we'll lose money, but we'll still carry.
What is the actual amount needed in advertising to cover the cost? Do you know?
I've never asked him.
Because they're talking about this bonus thing, if you have
Yeah.
11.4 in a year, then you get a 3% rebate the first year, and
Oh, to be honest, this is a company that does a lot of publications for churches. And I've never seen a church, I take that back, a church in this particular area get the bonus. You do have that like in Brookfield or Pewaukee, your more wealthier churches that get a kickback, but you have to have a lot of sponsors. And I'm so appreciative to the sponsors that we do have, because that does, you know, first of all, gives them some publicity and then subsidizes the cost of our newsletter. So I think I'm very proud of what Cammie does. I think she does an excellent job on, from what the newsletter was to what it is now.
How long is our contract good for? How long has it got to run yet?
It's at least 2 more years. When we did I think the amendment was it's in your packet, where the one that says new.
Yeah.
I got confused reading this about the advertising. Do they go find advertisements for us?
Yes.
So some of the advertisements in our newsletter are people they found, not.
Oh, it's all people. I don't have time to, yeah, they solicit all the, except for Craig Realty.
Yeah, I saw it, you know.
Not only getting extra credit for board member being
Yours is gonna be flashing next time, Bill.
But seriously, now I'm wondering, okay, do I go and pay for a full year of advertising, not knowing if we're gonna have a newsletter?
Oh, no, we will. We will have
Oh, we
4,
will.
yes.
Okay.
Just as the agreement says, we're gonna do it 4 times a year. We're gonna do it just as the agreement says.
Okay.
Because that was my concern also, in asking questions related to the budget. I wouldn't want to do anything to the agreement that Liturgical had with our sponsors. So nothing's going to change. They'll sell ads again, just like they did last year, and, you know, look
Because he
for...
refers to running a deficit of like $2,200 or something.
Yeah, is that per issue or
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's a year.
for the publication?
Right.
He should be fired. He's earning $2,200.
Well, or else they should get better salespeople.
This is crazy. A little hard to believe some of what you're reading there, I guess.
But no action is needed, Mr. Chairman.
No action. Any more comments on that?
You were talking about reducing the number of pages, you still considering that, or?
We could, but I wanted to tell you, I worked in a big event in Big Bend where lots of people, there were a lot of Vernon people there, and a lot of people, you know, had a lot of nice things to say about the newsletter. I have to tell you, I had 2 people say, that's the first time I've ever seen voting information in the newsletter. And I had their names read after me.
You put it in there all the time?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So it's the first time they read the newsletter?
Yeah, first time I've ever read it, yeah.
So many informative things, and especially that voting stuff. So,
I tried to make fun of it, yeah.
Interesting.
but they like when you guys write.
All right. Correspondence and announcements. Bill, let's start with you.
Just, Tom, you probably can elaborate on this too. We did meet, was it Monday, I think, with the Village of McGonigal Board, discussing the issue of annexation of parts of the town. I think it was a very good discussion. Tom and I both had some questions. The attorney raised some good points on our behalf. He wasn't there, but in writing prior, I think 2 of the most important questions were, one had to do with, this is like a I guess I could call it a 4-phase annexation plan, where the first 5 years would be one phase, after 10 years another, 20 years another, and the final would be 30 years out. And the way they had the verbiage in their agreement was that we would have to meet their road specifications. So when we pushed the issue a little bit, kind of pointing out that, hey, why are we doing your road specs 15 years or 20 or 30 years in advance? They did agree, okay, that is a little bit unrealistic. who of us know what's gonna happen 20 years from now, 5 years from now, perhaps. So they wanted to stick with the 5 and 10-year requirement that we follow their road specs if we develop roads, but they will back off of the 20 and 30 year. One of the other things I made a note of is they would not try to interfere with us if we were to pursue some kind of consolidation. So that was not addressed. Again, our attorney had made some points. There are several ways to annex property other than the way they're proposing it. So that was a third issue. In other words, we reach our border agreement. Now do they have another means by which they can still annex our property? So they're going to address that also. So those are the three things. The road issue, not to interfere if we're going to pursue a consolidation, and then the final issue I just mentioned. So that's what I got out of it.
Ed?
Question for you, Bill. Road specs, do we know?
That's
not
gonna
on
be
agenda.
in closed session, this is reports. We're not-
Okay. I have nothing.
I have an item that is brought to my attention by Karen. I have received calls, and she's getting a lot of calls about peddlers. And when the sheriff's deputy was here this evening, I mentioned to him, if people are seeing individuals in their subdivisions or in their community who are peddling or soliciting for any organization or business, they have to have a permit. And as of this time, there is no one has been issued any permits for any kind of solicitation for business or any organization in the town of Vernon. If you see someone that is doing this, they're in violation of the town ordinance regarding this, and you need to call the sheriff's department. And the best number to call is 262-446-5070. You will get the sheriff's department dispatch office, and they will dispatch an officer to investigate as quickly as possible. I can't emphasize to you, people in the community, enough that this is extremely important, because of the simple fact that this is how people get their houses broken into. I'm not saying these people are criminals, but there are people out there that pose as solicitors just to gain access to your house. So it's extremely important to you and your neighbors. If you see someone out there, don't be scared or apprehensive about calling the sheriff. That's their responsibility, and they're more than happy to come out to investigate these incidents. So again, the number to call is 446-5070, and we do have a Public Health and Safety Committee meeting on the fourth Monday of this month, which I believe is the 28th, if I'm not mistaken, Karen, right?
That's correct.
At 6:30, and it will probably be discussed again at that public health. Other than that, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have at the present time.
All right, thank you. Jeff?
Just like to say that the soccer and football teams are forming. There are still some room on some of the soccer teams if your child's interested. Games for soccer and football start September 9th. Pee Wee begins September 11th. So you should be hearing from your coaches within the next few days about what team you are in practice schedule. If you are signed up and don't hear anything, please contact Park and Rec right away, because things are starting.
Okay. I have nothing, Madam Clerk.
The only thing I have is, I don't know if you're aware that although we have no official newspaper, the Mukwonago Chief is no longer going to be published starting August 30th, and you won't even see that insert in the journal anymore. So I did send an email out to other clerks in our area to see if they would like to work together on elections, anything that we can do as a group, or not that we even have to do that anymore, but anything that we can save money as communities doing multiple advertisements in the Waukesha Freeman, because it's a lot less expensive to do it in the Freeman than it is the Journal. And that's like I said, a lot of phone calls in regards to the peddlers. Sheriff's Department has been wonderful about trying to get out there when they're being called, and people are a little apprehensive about calling. They don't want to bother the Sheriff's Department, but they want to be bothered, so. In the newsletter, again, we'll put the badge again so people know what to look for. What does an official Town of Vernon peddler's badge look like? And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, treasurer's report. In front of you here, you have the monthly treasurer's report. And the ACH will come up with finance. So here's the treasurer's report. Any questions or comments? No? Okay. Move on to financials. Accounts payable dated August 17th, 2007. Any questions, corrections? Is there a motion?
I've got reference number 63225, Verizon, make sure I'm on the right line. Verizon wire was 217.30. I don't know how my math is. I redid it a couple times. I come up with 217.56. Not a whole lot of difference.
The 217.56 is the previous bill that was paid. The current charges are 217.30.
Okay, I misread that one. What is Baycom? I was looking for some idea on the invoice, description of what it was.
Fire department?
Yeah, fire department, Baycom.
You should ask.
I should have asked that before.
Yeah, I have, someone should have asked him too.
Yeah, I'd like to know what happened to the customer receipt from us.
No
It wasn't turned in.
The only other question I had was the John Deere tractor. What, is there some kind of a radio on that thing? It looks like there's a radio on it. Specs that I saw.
The mower?
Yeah, that's, I'm gonna pull that up.
Yeah,
Is it a type of radio when they call?
I don't see.
I don't think it's like a Bose FM. I think it's like emergency radio.
The TV got away off.
$379.01 is the cost. Allied Radio Deluxe without CD. North America.
That sounds like radio.
Yeah, Deluxe without CD.
Yeah. We'll take a look, it's in the back. Is that standard equipment? No.
it's $379.
It's a separate item.
Yeah,
$379 worth.
yeah. Got a question, John, on that one.
Yeah.
See, I don't remember approving that much for the tractor either. I thought it was less expensive overall.
86,000?
Yeah, I was thinking like 60-some thousand.
Well, it was 50,000, 52,000, but then they, all these extra things.
Mm-hmm.
Something to 33,000, contract description, Dodge, Tiger, I don't know what that is. Are you done, Bill?
See, I don't remember that we ever saw the detailed specifications on that.
No.
I just remember approving a price, I don't remember paying that much.
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
gonna
we
try
should ask John. I know what. Have John bring in the invoice on the thing.
Yeah.
the
That
next
is-
time.
that is the invoice.
Oh,
You're talking about the specs are a lot
well,
different.
yeah, we probably need to ask him to explain, because it's all the numbers that, you know, contract description, air suspension seat, and a lot of the stuff.
I'm not worried as long as it matches what we approved.
Yeah, the bottom line,
Find the number on this
Yeah.
one.
86,821.
Trying to get to their capital improvements.
Can you get into that?
Yep. I'm just trying to get to that part.
Karen, I've got one on 63209 for Han Ace Hardware. It's showing multiple invoices, it says 146.64. I'm looking at the legal total here. But I had a question on the first part where it's showing a bit, cord extension, wheelbarrow, and labor. What's the labor? $15 a labor for something.
Is it to pick it up?
Did you,
Probably put it together, $15 to put the
we'll put the wheelbarrow together? We got a DPW department, we're paying $15.
I'm just guessing.
Well, you're only gonna pay, you're gonna pay 65 if you got an hour for them at $15 is almost cheap.
Okay.
Karen, I know we should have talked to Alex when he was here, but two bills here that, one for Costco for $137.97 without a receipt.
Yeah.
What is,
No, there was no receipt turned in.
no receipt turned in? But I have no idea, we don't know what he bought.
Now, what are we gonna do with these? I mean, we've talked about it in the past, that people don't turn in receipts.
Yeah, and out loud,
And tell you what my company used to do.
don't pay it.
No, you paid it.
Take it out of the paycheck next time. You're right.
Well, you can't take it out of the paycheck, that's against the law without some approval.
But I'm sure Karen's more than one time is asking for receipts for these individual bills.
It's
You know,
happening.
you can't keep turning in a bill and not document what you spent it for.
No.
And the other question I was gonna ask him is, they bought fuel at Quick Trip, why are they buying fuel over there when we got fuel tanks over here? $80 worth of fuel. Why, and it's diesel fuel, because that's what the receipt says.
Paying full board for them.
Yeah, why are we getting fuel from Quick Trip? You know, it's more expensive.
Mhm.
And that's why we have a fuel tank here, so people can get it restocked up. I don't know if it's convenience or,
So we couldn't find a key or something?
yeah. But what I'll do is, Tom, is I'll talk to, the fire chief in regard to these two bills, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
Okay. Should have talked
I'll
to
get
Tom.
John a call about the radio tomorrow. Just share information.
Okay. So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable batch 2170817 in the amount of $143,273.54.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, sir.
Both of those here, I don't know how one wants that other one, Manual checks, are there any manual checks?
There was one for the newsletter, sir. It was on the end of your APs for $731.
I'll make a motion to approve the manual check for the post office, the amount of $725.71.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, sir.
ACH transaction,
Need a motion on
On the ACH you do.
that? I'm sorry?
The ACH you do, Ed, because those are actual withdrawals from the account for, mainly for payroll, but Howard would like a formal motion.
So it's approval by the board.
And just so the board knows, anytime you want to see payroll, or on mine, I always have the person. I didn't want to put that in the packet, but anytime, I just want to let you know that those books are coming.
I'll make a motion to approve the journal ACH summary in the amount of $93,821.22.
I'll second it.
okay. Any discussion?
I had a question on journal entries. I'm sure we didn't show up here, but we did get them. Maybe a dumb question, but Karen,
Oh, no.
you know what the return item fee debit?
Yes, we had a fire department member that his bank had closed. And he didn't notify me in time, and so when the transaction came through, so that happened twice.
I saw that 2 times.
Right.
in there, huh?
I just wanted you to see it, because I just figured it's good. I mean, you see it on the bank statement, but I just wanted, in this one, I put the narrative so you could see, what happened there. Just want you guys informed.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, sir.
Accounts receivable report.
That doesn't need a formal motion, Mr. Chairman, but Howard likes you to see periodically, what we have. You can see some of the people are trying to pay their bills down, and,
Is it shrinking?
oh, yes.
Doesn't seem to be as lengthy as it has been in the past. We still do have two gentlemen that owe for damaged property, I see.
Yes.
One paid up, two didn't.
Town of McGuanago snow plowing, do we? What do we do?
We just billed that.
Huh?
He just gave me that invoice to bill them recently. Howard's not gonna be too happy, but
Okay. Never saw that before.
No.
yeah, every year.
We do, okay. It's kind of after winter, that's why.
Yes, it's quite a ways after.
Yeah,
But John's still new, so he's learning.
Okay, financial report, we'll take a look at that. Any questions on that?
This one, mine are A and B, is there difference?
I just wanted you to see that, like, the A was all combined, and the B is by, by department.
Okay.
Because sometimes if you go through it and someone says, look at page 7, well, is it page 7 on the one report or page 7 on the, so I just in case you called with questions.
We're pretty much in line with most line items I saw, except a couple, you know, one in recreation where T-ball expenses is 238% over the budget. I don't know what happened there. Sometime we.
I'll check that one.
Yeah.
Because typically when you see an expense go over, you see the revenues over also.
Yeah.
So you don't mind if the expenses are more if your revenues are there,
Yeah,
but we'll
well,
double check that one.
Yeah, it's significantly over, you know, $1,000 over in expenses versus what was budgeted. So unless he had some unusual happening that happened within that budget line item. I appreciate these every month, you know.
Yep, the zeros are starting to balance out.
Yeah. It's,
For coming
we're right
around.
on line, we're pretty much
Yeah,
on
that's
line, pretty
pretty
much.
good.
Our revenues are offsetting their expenses and vice versa. We're doing pretty good.
Good, okay. Item 11, approval of the town board minutes for August 3rd, 2017. Any corrections or additions?
You know, I forgot to put the 20th on. July 20th.
We can do that next time.
Yeah, I
Only
forgot.
minor typos.
Okay, I'm getting to it, William.
You got good eyes.
Under 6B,
6B.
first full paragraph, Tim Collins
Mm-hmm.
has a complaint about shots coming in his yard and short wads.
Short water.
And showed,
Oh, okay.
Short wads from the
He showed
hunters, right. And then it goes on, he was mowing his lawn, was scared off his lawnmower, and he is
Woken up.
awakened
Woken up.
That's such word.
awakened
By the
by
sounds
the
of gun.
sounds of gunshots at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Got it, Bill.
That's it. Good news.
Okay, is that a motion, Bill?
Yep. You want me to verbalize the whole thing?
No.
I got it.
With those changes, Bill got the motion, is there a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. Next meeting date is September 7th, 2017, and staff is September 14th, 2017 at 1 p.m. Town board will be at 6. Public comments. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Record show there are no public comments. Motion to go into closed session. Consideration of possible action to move, motion to convene into closed session under Wisconsin Stat 19.85, Pren 1, Pren E. Negotiating the purchasing of public properties, investing in public funds, or conducting other special public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed sessions, more specifically negotiating for a border agreement with the village of McGonigal. Closed in the closed session are all town board members and Madam Clerk. Needs a roll call vote. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Chairman Thomas Byrd,
Yes.
Supervisor Jeff Millies,
Yes.
Supervisor Gary Wildy,
Yes.
Supervisor Ed Moline,
Yes.
Supervisor Bill Craig. Mr. Chairman, note for the record that your town board voted unanimously to go into closed session.
Okay, we'll go into closed session at 7:35.